So before you embark on the journey of buying a property in Spain, you need to know the costs in and out. Absolutely all of them. Today, we are joined by expert property lawyer, and we're gonna dive deep into all the costs in property in Spain. Are you guys ready? Watch this video. Peter,
Hi,
welcome back.
thank you.
I feel like this seat feels like home to you. You're always here.
I'm getting used to it.
So, Peter, today we've invited, obviously, you on the channel because we want to talk about the purchase costs when buying a property in Spain, right? So, who better than you, Peter, from Franke de la Fuente Abogados? We'll put your details in the comments or in the description of this video in case you guys want to reach out to them. Peter, so how do we start? So, I am David in the US and I want to buy a property in Spain, and that's the idea, right? Like you can just imagine, yourself on that beautiful property on the beach. How do property costs work in Spain?
Well, it's a fundamental question, of course. So when you want to invest in real estate in any country, I suppose, then you need to know you need to set your budget, and of course, then doing that, you need to know the transaction costs.
Yeah.
When you want to make your investment. So, and that's going to be important also to know where are we in Spain, because it can be different from region to region. We're going to touch on that a little bit when we talk about resale properties.
Okay.
So usually I think question number one when we talk to clients is, what are you buying? What kind of property are you thinking of? So is it a resale property? Is it a new promotion, a new developed property, a new house, a new apartment, or a plot, or any of the other real estate available? But of course, the most common ones for this channel, I suppose, is the resale property or the new development.
Okay. So let's talk about that. Let's start with, new developments. How does that work?
All right. So that makes it slightly easier and to understand actually for any potential buyer out there, because that's VAT. So when you buy a new developed property in Spain, doesn't matter where, in which region, then it's, first of all, the most relevant tax is the VAT tax, and that's 10% on the purchase price.
Okay.
Together with that, there's also stamp duty tax, which is 1.2% applied here. And to other costs involved is, well, you have a fee for the lawyer. Usually it's around 1% of the price. And also in addition to that, there are fees to the notary and to the land registry.
Okay.
Let's say those fees together with some other minor fees, altogether 1%, which leads us in total to around 14%.
Okay.
When you buy a new developed property.
Okay. So that's with new development, so up to 40%?
14.
14, yeah.
Yeah.
Not 14.
Not 14.
Make the audience, I was scared, that scared a lot of people away. So that's new developments, up to 14%. With regards to resale properties, how is the breakdown?
Yeah, all right. So the important thing to remember now is that we're not talking about VAT. So we're talking about a regional tax, which is the transfer tax in English. And for Andalusia at the moment, that tax is a flat rate on 7%.
Okay.
So it's 7%, there's no stamp duty, etc. But you have the lawyer. If you're going to use a lawyer, then usually the fee is 1% of the price. And these other fees that I mentioned before, to the land registry, to the notary, other minor fees count 1%.
Okay.
Altogether around 9% of the purchase price.
So then the main difference is between a resale property and a new construction is on a resale property, you're paying up to 9%, and on a new development up to 14%. So there's effectively a 5% difference, more or less, between 4 and 5% between one or the other.
Yes, more or less.
So to put that into perspective, if one of you guys or someone in the audience is looking to buy a property in Spain, let's sort of zoom into Malaga, where we are. So it's in line with what you've just said. The difference on a 500,000 euro property, 5% is 25,000 euros. So that's the difference between buying a new construction property and a resale property. That's quite something. That is something, and that's
People
not
should
nothing.
Definitely be aware of it,
Yeah.
for sure. I think it's a good thing that we point these things out. And of course, as early as possible, it's recommendable to do your budget, of course. So always consider the transaction costs. And of course, we try to help our clients from the very beginning. This should be one of the main first questions to sort out.
Yeah.
we provide them with a breakdown of expenses to have it very detailed. You know, what will this investment actually cost me?
So we just recently did a video on top mistakes buyers make when buying a property in Spain. And this was actually one of the ones which we talked about, is coming to market without doing accounts. So, you know, if you're about to jump into the Spanish property market and you have a budget of 500,000 euros, the big question is that the budget for the property? Is that your global budget?
Yeah.
Or is that your global investment budget? Because if your budget's 500,000 euros all in, actually, depending if you're buying new construction or resale property, your budget's actually 450.
Yeah.
And you know, with our team and with our rock stars, we find, you know, sometimes very frustrating moments where people have not been, let's say, they didn't know, and they come to market and they get quite frustrated because, you know, they're looking at things up to 500,000,
Yeah.
and then, you know, they sort of realize that their budget does not span all the way. So it's really important to keep the
Yeah.
purchase costs in mind.
Of course, and I think it's important then to also understand if you're also looking for a mortgage.
Yeah.
When you're buying.
Yeah.
Make sure to remember that the banks will not allow any mortgage on the costs.
Yeah, that's a
They
good
will
point.
not finance your costs. They will only finance the estate, so the property. So a conclusive budget shall be, you know, done for all the different options out there when you are looking to invest here in Spain.
What we'll do is in post, we'll put like a small breakdown of, because if you're buying with a mortgage, right, let's say that you get a mortgage of 70%, right? That means that you're going to have to make a down payment of 30% plus purchase cost.
Exactly.
Right? So if you're buying with a mortgage, depending if it's a new construction or a resale property, your down payment's going to go from 30% to up to 44% in case of a new development, or up to, my maths are not working with me now, 39% in case of a resale property. So it's a dramatic change, especially for mortgage buyers.
Yeah. And to make it even more complicated,
Go for it.
For the new promotions,
Yeah.
now the bank will only activate, of course, the mortgage when the real estate is actually completed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that, you know, but these things, if you're looking for a mortgage, you know, you need help with your financing. I mean, you use the advisors out there to make smart choices and be well prepared.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
So the last one is plots.
Yeah.
So how does it work when, you know, if you're looking to build your dream home and clients are coming over to buy a plot, what's the difference between a plot and a resale and new dev?
All right. So without complicating it too much, because, you know, from the office point of view, there are definitions of what is a plot, what is a commercial plot, what is a residential plot, etc.
Yeah, yeah.
But in general, keep it in mind
Yeah.
that if it's a plot, there might be, instead of course the 7% transfer tax or the 10% VAT, it's actually 21% VAT on the plot. And it's just remember that if you're an investor looking for, you want to build yourself perhaps and not buy a finished product, then the tax is going to be quite different.
That's dramatic, 21% on the plot, which is effectively VAT.
It's quite the difference, of course, and the taxes are many times a little bit complicated. Many times they're super easy on properties.
So I think, like, to conclude this video, I would say before you make a move or before you enter market, you know, ask the right questions.
Yeah.
Right? Seek advice. You know, I think, you know, the right way is always to ask as many questions as you can and get in touch with local specialists like yourself. And get the real numbers on the paper, right? Write them down and make sure you understand the cost in and out.
Make a budget.
Make a budget. There you go. I think we can finish on that. Peter, thank you so much for being on the channel.
Thanks.
So, you know what? I've completely forgot to do, Peter. So it really surprises me that over 50% of our viewers, you guys, are not subscribed to the High Homes YouTube channel. So if you are interested in Spain's property market, Costa del Sol, want to stay posted with the best of the best, click that button. It's the bell button, so you get notified when videos like this come out. Press the subscribe button so we can keep you posted with the best of the best. And comment below questions you have for us, for Peter, things that you'd like to see on this channel. And that's really it. Until next time, guys, hasta luego.